Staffordshire and Shropshire Health Informatics Services, an NHS shared service, predominantly delivering ICT and infrastructure services to NHS organisations, and it's around managed platforms from virtualisation, networking and IP telephony.
The goal of the organisation really is to try and provide best value for people, and obviously we're slightly different than private sector organisations in that we're there for the benefit of everybody rather than trying to drive profits and things.
It's important that public sector organisations have a cybersecurity capability in the form of a SOC to enable them to protect themselves against the ever-changing threat of hackers and cyber criminals across the globe. As we know from the news articles recently, large organisations in the public and private sector have been hit with cyber attacks that have reduced their capacity to perform and deliver services. This can have not only knock-on effect in the private sector on their income, but in the public sector and the NHS, it can be a matter of life and death. We've got a 24/7 security operations centre, and actually to do that with our own staff would be significantly more expensive than working with a private sector partner.
What a security operations centre is it is taking all of the information that all of your systems are generating around user activity, people coming in and out of your network, putting all that together in one place and then analysing it to see if anything that shouldn't be happening is happening and then responding to it. It is ever changing, so when it originally started that was good enough, but obviously moving forward you now have to then react to that information in a way that can protect any threats or stop any threats.
This is where we work with ANS with our SIEM system to 24/7 monitor our networks and infrastructure for any suspected malicious activity. Once an alert has been identified as a malicious threat, an incident is triggered, and then we can work with organisations to agree runbooks of how to react to specific types of events. We can work on policies and processes to enable them to communicate within their organisations effectively, and also help them produce major incident plans of what to do in a cyber attack.
Some of the barriers that might stop organisations building their own security operations centres. Obviously the big one is cost. It's a really big factor, particularly in NHS organisations at the moment, but across the whole public sector too.
For the particular set of skills that are required for cyber security and a security operations centre, we can't compete with private sector organisations in terms of the wages that we can pay. And obviously staff, it's a very marketable set of skills. So it's very difficult for us to recruit staff and retain them on NHS pay scales. We pulled together a service specification and went through a tendering process, and it became apparent from the responses we've got that there were very few companies that were A, were in our price range, and B, we had the confidence that they understood what we wanted out of the relationship, which wasn't a transactional relationship. We wanted a partner with sort of knowledge transfer and understanding the way our business worked rather than just looking at the alerts that are generated. The service enables us to identify that with the threats we know we face today, that we're marshalling our resources to make the best use of them.
We chose to engage with ANS, I think, because we've obviously had those historical relationships with them in the past. We wanted to have the relationship where it was more of that two-way arrangement. And the requirements that we released very much reflected that. And what we felt was a number of other suppliers were presenting options that were very much sort of off the shelf, where the ANS model felt much more like a partnership and like something that would evolve with us rather than stuck with something that we bought off the shelf, really.
I think the thing that distinguishes ANS from their competitors is actually the ongoing relationship. We've seen over the last 12 months service developments in terms of the technology that's used. We've been taken on a journey with them, which has actually meant that we haven't had to invest in that. So being able to have a partner you trust who can develop that side of the service allows us to focus on the skill side and building the business side of the cyber security with our partners.
Obviously we focus very much around the public sector bodies, but ANS have a wider customer base in the private sector, and we felt that the knowledge and sort of experience that they have from those relationships could be used to enhance the service that we provide and potentially give us views into things that we wouldn't think about. So in terms of AI and moving forward and unlocking some of that AI value in the SOC service, we think that the biggest area for that is going to be around the SOAR piece, the automated response. In that, there is a huge number of events that we're tracking on a daily basis. Having the ability for AI to look at those events, link them, potentially sort of triage and proactively look at what's going on, and then only forward to a person the important things is going to help us respond more quickly to things.
Triage alerts that are generated off Sentinel, we're seeing reduced triage times, where the AI is triaging the alerts and identifying false positives, therefore passing on the exceptions that genuinely need looking at to the triage team a lot quicker. I think it's reduced from about 15 minutes down to 10 seconds.
The thing that distinguishes ANS is really around that true partnership model.
So actually it was important for us to have someone that we trusted who can develop that side of the service, allows us to focus on the business side of the cyber security with our partners.